I had never known what my natural hair looked like because my mom had got my hair relaxed at a very young age, like 5 years old. A lot of these content creators are not being truthful about their hair textures. The way that people have kind of normalized that too, that you have to have perfect edges everywhere you go, I hate that too. I think at the end of the day, just do what's best for you. Do what you want to do. Stop pressuring people to do what you do for your hair. Hey everyone, it's Baby. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another video. So I'm going to be reacting to the rise and fall of the natural hair community. I am very interested to see what this is about. This video was posted recently. It popped up on my timeline and I was like, hey, why not go ahead and react to it? And so interested to see what this is going to be about. I feel like the natural hair movement came about a few years ago and it's still going strong for the most part. I know that when I went natural, I believe it was during that time that everybody was going natural, and so I stuck with it. I know some people ended up reverting back to getting like perms and relaxers and stuff like that, but I think do whatever works best for you and your hair routine. But I know like with the natural hair community, there's been a lot of ups and downs when it comes to that, and I don't know what she's gonna speak on in particular, but I know that a couple complaints that had came about was that the natural hair movement was for black women that had coarser textured hair, and I know a lot of women who are like 4C 4B, they felt some kind of way because they felt like the movement kind of got hijacked by women with looser textured hair and stuff like that, and then the image started to become that and not what it was originally intended for. And so I'm curious to see what she's going to speak on in this video. But yeah, let's hop right into it.
I feel some type of way too if somebody was telling me that I was...
Oh wait, hold up, I need to I don't know why it keeps doing that. Okay.
People want to just enjoy their hair. It's hair. It grows back. What is the point of going on a natural hair journey? What is the point of growing your hair to be a certain length and you can't even wear it? People have begun to divest in the idea that we can only wear our natural hair. I would feel some type of way too if somebody was telling me that I was treating my hair all wrong when I felt like I found something that worked for my hair. A lot of people on the internet were trying to tell you about your hair and they had never seen your hair in real life or put their hands in your head a day in their life. Hey guys, what is up? It is Cam. Welcome back to my channel.
Okay. Okay, I love the Bible scripture. Yes.
Alright, so in today's video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about the rise and fall of the natural hair community. And before we get into it, if you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm officially back, guys. I know I took a little bit of a long break. There's been a lot going on, but I'm officially back and it's time to get the ball rolling with more videos for you guys. I definitely miss you all. So please subscribe and click the notification bell so you can stay tuned and so you don't miss whenever I post and upload to this channel. Also, subscribe to my second channel. That is where I post all of my girly type of content, and if you want to keep up with me outside of YouTube, you can follow me on all my social media. Everything will be on the screen and linked down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so let's talk about the rise and fall of the natural hair community, because although I think that the natural hair community is still very much alive and well, especially considering I am someone that considers themselves to be a part of the natural hair community. Like, I mean, look at me. My hair is natural, and most, if not all of my videos, you'll see my hair being natural. Like, this is the primary way that I wear my hair. So I think it's an interesting topic and an interesting concept about the natural hair community having a rise and then ultimately having a decline, because what I've noticed, especially on social media and in real life even, that a lot of people are divesting in the natural hair community, and that doesn't necessarily mean that people are not natural anymore, or that majority of black women or people that have naturally curly hair are not natural anymore. But I've just seen an influx of women leaving the natural hair community because of several different reasons, and we're gonna get into all of that in today's video because I have a few talking points that I just want to touch upon. Like, I want to get into it. So whenever considering this conversation, we should start by talking about the rise, because this is where it all started. For me, I noticed the natural hair community gaining a lot of its popularity back when I was first starting high school. That's when it became super duper popular on YouTube. There were literally black black girls popping up everywhere,
when I was in high
giving
school.
natural hair content, showing you how to style your hair, showing you what products.
I just realized, have I ever made a video about my natural hair journey? I should do that. Let me know. Cause I'm not going to know unless y'all leave a comment. So if you're watching this and you want to see a video about my natural hair journey, definitely leave a comment down below letting me know.
To use in your hair, giving you recommendations based off of their findings on their journey and trying to take care of their hair. There were so many people doing big chops and rocking TWAs and just trying to really take on the journey. And I think that's kind of what the appeal in the first place was to the natural hair movement and the natural hair community, is because a lot of people were getting rid of the relaxers or deciding that they were going to wear their hair how it naturally grew out of their scalp. And I think not only was it freeing us from the shackles of relaxers, considering that for a long time we used relaxers and straightening our natural hair as a way to assimilate, but I think it also was kind of giving us a power back and allowing us to find another way in which to love our true and natural self. And so when the natural hair community first sprouted on the internet, it definitely was a lot of girls who had more kinky, coily type hair. And these are the girls that I'm talking about are in what we would now call the type 4 range, because I think a lot of the stigma whenever it came to black hair, whenever it came to naturally coily and kinky hair, was that it was bad. I think a lot of us for a long time were told that we did not have good hair, or we were adjacent to other black girls or biracial girls who did have what was considered good hair and were constantly praised for it. And so for us, being people with tighter hair, the type 4s, I think it was really an outlet to be able to learn what our hair actually looked like, learn how to take care of our hair, and learn how to...
That was the thing that was like really exciting for me. Going natural is just seeing what my natural hair texture looked like that was like the most exciting part, just to see my hair grow. Because real quick, because I'm not gonna get, again, if y'all want a full length video, let me know in the comments down below, or just to give a brief synopsis. So I didn't become natural until I went to college, mostly because I didn't want to go through the whole thing of trying to find a hairstylist where I was going to college at, but also not having to spend the money to constantly get relaxers. But I had never known what my natural hair looked like because my mom had got my hair relaxed at a very young age, like 5 years old. And so I had no idea what my hair looked like in this natural state. And so that was like one of the more exciting parts about going natural for me.
Embrace our hair and find out what worked for our hair aside from using hot tools and using chemicals. And I think this movement actually had a lot of strengths, especially when it was first starting out, because it was able to build this community. It was able to start this movement, and it really had a lot of momentum behind it because literally everyone was hopping on. I remember when the natural hair movement first started and everyone was literally flocking towards Cantu, like that was the go-to product. Like,
what? You like it? Where's my right
here? Yeah.
With your what? I don't talk to your bro. You bro.
You know, we don't mess with Cantu nowadays. Like, it's not that great in the grand scheme of things and in comparison to other products, but we were all using Cantu back in the days. I'm pretty sure I can still, like, smell Cantu, even just by thinking about it. And I'm sure some of you guys can also smell it just by thinking about it. The same way that I think people can smell relaxers just by thinking about it or talking about it, or smell something like pink lotion just by thinking about it or talking about it. Like, you get what I mean. And so I think this influx of people wanting to embrace and rock their natural hair, learn how to style it, learn how to take care of it, is really what catapulted and popularized the actual momentum. And so after a year or two of this kind of picking up steam, you started seeing so many different people making tutorials, doing big chops, like I mentioned before, just the whole nine. I feel like some notable natural hair YouTubers at that time were like Natural 85. I still love her. African Beauty was a really, really big one.
Natural
that
Niecy,
I love. And I mostly just know natural hair YouTubers from the ones that I used to watch based off of what my specific hair type was looking for.
Brilliant Beauty. Listen, Brilliant Beauty, her content, I love her content. She does a lot of reviews on protective styles as well, like crochet braids and wigs and stuff like that. I love her channel.
Of girls girls and women that had hair that looked more similar to mine. But I know there are girls who are in the community out there who consumed all types of natural hair content, regardless of the type hair or the type of curl that the actual content creator or YouTuber had. So this was just like a cute little time. Like, we were all in our kumbaya stage. We were having fun. We were learning how to take care of our hair. We were just like in this kind of state of euphoria, the state of bliss, the state of ignorance. And I feel like as the years moved on, it started to sour and it started to become a little bit less nice and pretty. Like, I feel like the smoke and mirrors started to be revealed a little bit, and we were able to see the flaws and the faults and pretty much most of the tribulations of what the natural hair community was and was starting to become. So let's get into the
also, if you're seeing a lot of cuts in this video, it's because I'm editing out the ads. We are 6 minutes in and there's already been like 2 ads already, and so my apologies for the weird jump cuts. It's just me taking out the ads so you guys don't have to watch them.
texturism of it all, because by golly gee, I feel like texturism has never left the black community specifically, but I think it was more so heightened and really pulled to the forefront when the natural hair movement and community started to rise up and started to become very popular, because like I said before, a lot of people were starting to categorize girls and women with their natural hair into categories of good hair and bad hair. And we all know what good hair means. We know what people meant by good hair, and we know what people meant by bad hair. And I think a lot of the texturism fell on the type 4 girlies, and more specifically on the girls that had 4C hair.
The natural hair movement is for black women with type 4, most specifically 4C hair. You never had to perm your little ringlets, okay? Be honest, nobody was telling you that your waves were not socially acceptable. Let's stop the cap. Y'all really trying to sit here like, they made me hate my hair. What do you mean they made? No, they didn't. They did not make you hate your hair. Black women had their scalps burning from the relaxer.
Because, okay, I know that people with looser texture hair, they get a bad rep a lot of the times because, I don't know people's stories, right? Like, and I feel like a lot of people, listen, kids are mean, right? Kids are mean, and you can get bullied for literally anything under the sun. I know I did. I got bullied for literally every little thing you could think of. And so I don't want to necessarily diminish someone's experience. I don't think it's an impossible thought to think that someone that, was mixed or biracial, or even someone that's black and they just happen to have looser textured hair, I don't want to assume that they or that it's like impossible for them to have gotten picked on or made to feel less than, because you never know. People have different stories. I will say though, like, obviously because of texturism and colorism and everything like that, obviously black women who do have more textured, tightly coiled hair, they are they do get more hate and discrimination from other people. And so I think you have to acknowledge that as well.
You threw your hair up in a bun. There's a difference. There is a very stark difference. Let's stop acting. Hair can be wavy too. No, it can't. Wavy is not equal curly. Wavy equals wavy. Let's stop acting like,
That's true.
Stop. How black women get pushed out of their own movement? Crazy.
And so I think a lot of people were experiencing texturism, and whether that meant they were experiencing texturism because they couldn't find any content creator or YouTuber that actually had hair types similar to them, or whether they were experiencing texturism in their real lives because of the sudden switch from having relaxed hair or having straight hair, heat-trained hair, to having their naturally curly hair and it not being what people were expecting it to be based off of what they were seeing on.
And even to speak on that real quick, I don't know if she's going to get into it, but I know one thing that happened that was really annoying for me is that you had content creators who had looser textured hair putting 4C and 4B in the titles of their videos to entice people to watch their videos, and they didn't even have that textured hair. And so they literally were trying to profit off of people who did have tightly coiled hair, and trying to attract that audience, even though they didn't have that type of hair. And that got really frustrating for me, because as someone that was actively trying to find other content creators that had my hair type, it was really hard, because I always would come across people who literally didn't have my hair even now when I try to find like 4C hairstyles because I want to switch it up and you know, do something different, the methods and the techniques that they use don't work for me because my hair is different, and it's really frustrating trying to find stuff that works. And I've just had to experiment a lot because a lot of these content creators are not being truthful about their hair textures. It's ridiculous.
On the internet.
I have a couple things to say about this topic. One, yes, like obviously in a vacuum, our natural hair isn't revolutionary, but in a society where it's so anti-black, yes, our natural hair is revolutionary. Two, the natural hair movement wasn't for my hair. It was never for 4C hair. The natural hair movement was a twist out movement. If your hair was not 3C or below, you twisted that out to make it look like that. So until I could wash my 4C hair and just go out like that, no problem, just be like that without any issue, then the natural hair movement was a success. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
Also, have you noticed a rise in wigs since people did switch their natural hair? It's like
I feel attacked. I feel attacked. I mean, look, the thing is, I can only speak for me. I like it all, right? I like the protective styles. I like the wigs. I like wearing my natural hair out as well. I love wearing my natural hair. But sometimes I get lazy. I get lazy, and you know, it's a lot of work, and so then sometimes I just like to put on wigs or do my braids and twists or whatever the case may be, because it's low maintenance. But also, when I was transitioning to natural, having my hair in protective styles, it helped me a lot. Like, my hair grew a lot keeping my hair in protective styles. So that's really why I do it. I do it for growth, and I do it so my hair can grow without too much manipulation. But I do get what she's saying though. Like, a lot of women have invested in hair that's not their own since this natural hair movement has become a thing, and girls aren't wearing their natural hair like that. Like, I know a lot of girls who they will literally wear their natural hair out maybe 2 days out the entire year. Like, the only time they'll wear their hair out is like the day in between them taking their protective style out and getting another one. But it's like a back-to-back thing to where they don't wear their hair out ever. And so I feel her on that.
like people don't even want to show it. So I don't see the point. That's what I was going to do if I had my natural hair. Mostly wear wigs because that's what I feel comfortable in. So I'm just being honest with myself. I'm sorry I'm not...
Oh yeah, she wearing a wig, ain't she?
But that's just the truth.
Because although I think the natural hair started as a way for girls with super tight coils to embrace their hair, I think at some point it was overtaken and overrun by girls that had looser curl patterns. And I'm not necessarily saying that these girls with looser curl patterns were not allowed to be a part of the community or a part of the movement, because I do think that they have their place and that they should have a place, because whenever it comes to naturally curly hair, it definitely is a spectrum, and I think there is something for everyone on that spectrum, especially considering that everybody has different hair types, and we can kind of categorize hair types by the way the curls look, by how loose or tight they are. And so of course, like, we needed those people with looser curl types as well, but I think the damage came from people praising and pedestalizing these girls that had looser curl patterns over the ones that had the tighter curl patterns.
It was never for 4C hair. The natural hair movement was a twist out movement. If your hair was not...
Emphasis on twist out movement, because I didn't really deep it, but like when I was transitioning, I still had some permed hair. It'd be like flexi rods, bantu knots, stuff like that.
Yep.
Then when I was fully natural, it was a twist out. It's like twist out was my go-to style. Like, I did not do anything but a twist out if my hair was like out. And then like it's just until last year I got comfortable like with the fro, no definition, nothing like that. But even me, like, wearing my fro, I do it by blowing out my hair to some degree. Like, I wish I could get to a place where I don't have to manipulate my hair for me to feel beautiful. And like, I'm kind of getting there, but like I can't just put water on my hair, put like some gel or mousse or whatever, and walk out the door and feel pretty. Like, so I don't know, I feel like that's...
And it's a shame, but again, I relate to that. Like, I don't think I will ever do that. Like, just put water on my hair and then keep it moving. Like, I don't know, it's just... I'm not at that place either where I can do that and I feel confident in how my hair looks. I feel like if my hair isn't in like a big, beautiful fro, then, you know, I'm just not gonna wear it out. I don't really like, you know, I don't like when my hair shrinks up a whole lot. And then if it does, I'll usually like, you know, put it in a particular style because yeah.
Next step as a community, but I don't think we're gonna ever get there because
And again, not only was this on the internet, but this was in real life. I feel like I've heard a lot of testimonials from girls just saying how it's harder for men to find them attractive when they have their naturally curly hair, if it's naturally more tightly curled or naturally more coiled or naturally more kinky in comparison to someone who has a looser curl pattern. And so we started to see a lot of problems. And I don't think these problems necessarily were the ones that started the decline of the natural hair community. I feel like that came a lot later. But these are just some of the hiccups that I noticed as this movement had gained popularity and was kind of sustaining this momentum and cementing itself as a core part of the Black community. And so then we have the peak of the natural hair community, which I would consider it to be somewhere around 2017, 2018 time, where the popular natural hair creators had cemented themselves as the natural hair gurus.
And that's crazy because that's around the time I went natural. I officially did my big chop in 2019, but I started my natural hair journey in 2018. So it was around the peak time of the natural hair movement.
Natural hair was all over the Black community. And for me personally, like, it was super inspiring to see a lot of Black girls and Black women rocking their natural hair and feeling comfortable enough to go out with their natural hair, especially considering that when I was younger, the most natural hair exposure that I got was my mom. She was always natural, but other than that, most Black girls, most Black women had straight hair. And for me, I knew I had curly hair growing up, but I liked my hair better and I liked myself better, the way I looked when I had straight hair, because that's just what I was trained to believe. But as I got older and started to form an appreciation for my hair because of what the natural hair community was doing, I feel like this was the peak, especially after girls had a couple of years to practice and a couple of years of knowledge under their belt. Like, people were starting to actually master their natural hair at this point, and I would consider this to probably be the best years of the natural hair community. I feel like we were seeing a bunch of threads on Twitter about how to take care of natural hair, a bunch of threads on Twitter about appreciation for all different hair types, especially type 4, because I feel like it was the category that got the most hate. But in getting the most hate, we were also trying to do the most uplifting in order to combat that. But we just were seeing natural hair literally everywhere, on red carpets, in movies, literally everywhere, on magazines. It was insane, but it was literally the best thing, I feel like, for Black girls, especially whenever it comes to representation and seeing people that look like you and have hair like you in the media. And so then in our little flow chart of the rise and fall, we get to right after the climax of everything, when people start getting really concerned about this little thing I like to call the natural hair police. I think whenever it comes to the natural hair police, it's this phenomenon that kind of came out of nowhere, but honestly I feel like we should have seen it coming. Like, we should have expected this, considering that we were on such a high and we were doing so well for so long. The natural hair police came and ruined everything, basically, because I feel like these people were so concerned about what you could and could not do with your hair, whether you were the hair type that you were saying that you were, or whether you were something different. Like, a lot of people on the internet were trying to tell you about your hair, and they had never seen your hair in real life or put their hands in your head a day in their life. And so I think this is really frustrating for a lot of people, because it's like, how are you going to tell me about my hair when you've literally never had to deal with my hair? And so I think this is probably one of the first instances where people started being put off by the natural hair community. And I also started seeing that this is where some people started divesting a little bit from the natural hair community, because
like I saw that a lot on, like, it's a lot of it I seen on Instagram, where, you know, like some of the natural hair people who make natural hair content, you know, like they'll post like a little tutorial, or they'll post like products that they use, and literally the comments are just telling that person that they're using the wrong products, their hair texture isn't what, you know, what they say it is, when honestly a lot of people have a mix of different textures throughout their hair. But I saw that a lot too, of people just like bashing you know, women with natural hair, telling them that they basically were doing everything wrong with their hair, even though their hair was fine and thriving. So yeah, I saw that a lot too.
I think it just kind of got overplayed a little bit, especially the natural hair movement aspect of it, not necessarily being natural and being a part of the community, but just the movement in and of itself. It was played out, it started to become old, the trend was dying a little bit. And to add the natural hair police, or the natural hair Nazis, as a lot of people like to call them, on top of that was just like the icing of this awful cake. Because honestly, I don't think anybody likes to be shamed for their hair, likes to be insinuated that their hair is bad hair, even after trying to create this relationship with their hair where they love it regardless of what it looks like, regardless of whether it's all styled up or if it's just in its shrunken state. I think there are a lot of people that started to hate for no apparent reason.
You know why I don't do my edges?
Oh, lip
because
gloss.
they don't want to be done. If they wanted to be done, then they would slick with Eco Styler gel. But I have to look for cement to lay them down, and then they stay for 5 minutes. So clearly, they don't want to do it, and I don't force people to do stuff they don't want to do.
And again, this is what
Nah, I felt that. Like, especially when it comes to like edges and stuff. Oh my god. You want to talk about the natural hair police? Let's talk about the edges police. Oh my gosh. And this is an issue today. Like, with black women policing other black women's edges. Like, stop. First of all, you're not even supposed to manipulate your edges like that on a daily basis because it can damage your edges. But the way that people have kind of normalized that too, that you have to have perfect edges everywhere you go, I hate that too. Sometimes I don't want to do my edges. Like, sometimes I just don't want to do my edges and it doesn't look bad. Like, you know, they won't be looking crazy, but people think you gotta have slick down edges for literally every single hairstyle, and it's so annoying. And it's literally to the point where black women are now flat ironing their edges so they can lay down correctly. Like, it's not that deep, it's just edges.
A lot of people off because they're embarking on this journey in order to try and love themselves or try to embrace their natural selves, and people are just talking crap about them. And then it just kept falling and falling and falling down from there. And then we get to about 2020 and 2021 where there are even more rules surrounding what we can and cannot do with our hair, what we should and should not do with our hair. And all of the things that we learned the past few years seem to be negligible considering what these people are telling us we should do with it now. And I think this became really confusing for a lot of people. Not only confusing, but frustrating. And it seemed like it was too good to be true. Like, how are you going to tell me that my wash day that has taken me 8 hours literally since the time I became natural, I'm supposed to cut that down into less than an hour, including styling and drying? Like, I think a lot of people were just taken aback and thrown off by these claims, especially considering that we've been using oils and butters on our hair since we started. Like, there was a whole trend with coconut oil. There was a whole trend with olive oil. There was a whole trend with the Aztec clay mask. There was a whole trend with shea butter. Like, we had been using this stuff on our hair for literally years, literally since the movement started, literally since we first big chop and started growing our hair, and now all of a sudden we're not allowed to use it anymore. And I think, of course, there are instances where we have to learn and unlearn things in order to swap them out for things that are going to be better than us. Yes, I 100% agree. And I also think that to some extent, cutting out oils and butters from my hair routine specifically has been better for my hair, / I have not really noticed that big of a difference. And so I think it was something that was worth giving a shot, but because people were so adamant about not being allowed to do this anymore and having to completely change your routine and redo things and unlearn, people were not having that. And honestly, it's hard to change. It is hard to be accepting of change, especially when it is sudden. And I would feel some type of way too if somebody was telling me that I was treating my hair all wrong when I felt like I found something that worked for my hair after trying to learn it for years and years and years. Because I feel like it went from no oils and no butters to you can't air dry to protective styles not actually being protective styles. And people just were like, you know what, I'm over it. People were starting to become over it. And that's fair because all of the things that we knew seem to be untrue at this point. And this is the point in which we were learning that everything we knew about our hair was somehow wrong according to the hair care professionals. And it's almost like they were coming out of the woodworks with this information. Like, where were you when this movement started back in 2013 and 2014? Like, where were you at the very beginning? Like, you had to hold on to this information up until now. Why could you not tell us this sooner? And I genuinely feel like that's how a lot of people were feeling. And I also think that people are just tired of all the rules and have begun to divest in the idea that we can only wear our natural hair. And I think that's what we're seeing now. People have begun to divest in the idea that we can only wear our natural hair. Cue wigs, cue protective styles, cue the return of relaxers, cue the return of getting our hair straightened every 2 weeks and getting these blowouts and these
silk
intricate
press
heat styles. People are doing a lot of things to their hair that we weren't previously seeing them doing in the past like 5 to 10 years because of this natural hair movement, because they are simply tired of being told that the only way to rock their natural natural hair is in its curly state. And honestly, I feel for most people because it is really hard to master your natural hair. It took me 7 years, so I can only imagine what other girls feel like, where they still feel like they haven't mastered it and they've been on the journey. They feel like their hair isn't growing, or that they can't grow hair, or that they're growing all this hair just to hide it because they're not allowed to do anything with it. It's almost like, what is the point of going on a natural hair journey? What is the point of growing your hair to be a certain length and you can't even wear it and enjoy it and experiment with it and do different things with it once it gets to the length that you've always dreamed and wanted it to be and imagined it to be? And I think too, we were putting a lot of pressure on girls to be natural, because I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with relaxers. Even though I do have a video about black women hating their hair, I think that's a totally different conversation. But whenever it comes to relaxers and you truly having to do what is best for you, your schedule, your hair, and everything like that, I think there's nuance in the situation.
Yeah.
But I also think that people are tired of being told what to do whenever it comes to their hair. People want to just enjoy their hair. It's hair. It grows back. And it doesn't necessarily have to be taken so seriously all the time.
Right.
But I think whenever it comes to the natural hair community, it's almost like you have to do it one way, and if you're not doing it that way, then you're doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like at this point, people just want to wear their silk presses. At this point, people just want to wear their wigs. At this point, people just want to wear their braids. They want to wear whatever style they want to without hearing people tell them why they can't or why they shouldn't, and without people telling them the bad things it's going to do to their natural hair or their hair.
And this is no shade to anybody, okay? This is no shade to anybody. But I have also seen this with the lock community. A lot of people are starting to get locks. And again, of course, this is not everybody, but I've seen a lot of people from that community as well, trying to force other people into getting locks. And you know, it's just, I just think at the end of the day, just do what's best for you. Do what you want to do. Stop pressuring people to do what you do for your hair. Everybody's hair that grows out of their own scalp, it works different. And, you know, you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day.
In its natural state. They don't even care. And I think that's valid. Reading an article on Harper's Bazaar titled, "In the Natural Hair Community, Exclusivity is a Moving Target." And it was a really good article, basically kind of venturing into the lives of a couple of different women and their experience in the natural hair community and everything of what they had to say. And one thing that stuck out to me in this article particularly was when they were talking about relaxers. And this is what it reads. "For everything wonderful the natural hair movement has brought us, the conversation has remained nuanced. Oftentimes, going natural meant stockpiling an arsenal of new products and dedicating hours to the art of hairstyling. But what about those who do not wish to spend a small fortune on products and services in the hopes of changing the way their hair looks? A case in point, a tweet from earlier this year by @TheRealShanae asked her followers about the interesting resurgence of relaxed hair. Cora Harrington, an author and lingerie expert who goes by @lingerie_addict, responded with her take. The natural hair movement eventually created a lot of pressure around what natural hair should look like, she said, rather than encouraging people to embrace their own textures and curl patterns." The article continues to say, "The thread that followed sparked a passionate conversation around the natural hair movement's intentions. If you love your unnatural hair, whether that be straightened, colored, or bald, is there anything wrong with that? Can you still be a part of the community? Only through understanding the frustrations with it can we create a more inclusive movement." So I thought this article was super interesting and super insightful, just based off of the simple fact that it was able to explore different women's experiences within the natural hair community, and it was able to give more perspectives. And I've personally read through Twitter threads about the natural hair community and how toxic it had become and how hard it had become to be a part of the community, because people were getting bullied, people were being harassed, people were getting policed, people were getting attacked by the natural hair Nazis. And I get it. It can be extremely exhausting, especially when you don't have a hair type that's considered to be desirable.
I'm about to talk about something that might be controversial in the natural hair community, but I feel like it needs to be said. When the natural hair movement started, it was highlighting the fact that Black women were specifically singled out negatively regarding their hair in the workplace and school and a lot of other institutions. The entire point of the natural hair movement was for Black women to wear their natural hair, thereby forcing society to accept it, so Black women wouldn't feel the need to wear braids, weave, wigs in order to look acceptable and presentable to the rest of society. Not only was it giving Black women permission to feel comfortable and accept their own natural hair, but it was also forcing society to accept it as well. It was there to say, my hair just the way it is professional, because even if we look on Google now, this is what we see. Peep the difference.
Whoa, really? Hold up. I'm about to wait.
Now
Wait.
times are changing, so those Google
Seriously?
results aren't as glaring as they were a
Hold
few
on, I'm
years
about to
ago,
look this
but that
up.
point is still very valid. Black hair naturally and black hairstyles
Unprofessional
are seen as
hairstyles.
unprofessional. So back to the natural hair movement itself. This natural hair space is also being claimed by white women. Now, don't get me wrong, the natural hair movement empowered thousands of women to accept their natural hair, and that wasn't just black women. But there is a distinct difference between black natural hair and any other race of natural hair. Especially in America, the way race has completely shaped our society, our criminal justice system, our economic system. Hair in the black community is so much more than just saying, oh, I want to wear my curls now because I like them. And I see tons of white women on TikTok and Instagram doing all of these curly hair routines that were originated by black creators.
Yeah.
And I am all for accepting your curls and doing all of these routines to actually show what your natural hair can do. I love it. But at the same time, I think being aware of the distinct spaces in which you fit into regarding the natural hair movement is really important. Because even for me, I know I'm privileged as a light-skinned black woman with looser textured hair compared to a dark-skinned woman with 4C hair. Beauty standards and texturism benefit me as they do for white women. I guess all I'm trying to say is be aware of where you stand privilege-wise, and also be aware of where you stand in regards to these movements. Just know what spaces are for you and know where your privilege lies, and be respectful of that in any space.
I think a lot of people would consider my hair type to be desirable, but I think I catfish a little bit because I wear my hair in a twist out most of the time, and so it looks looser than it actually is, but I have a pretty tight curl pattern. You just wouldn't know it because I wear my hair like this, but I think I would be treated a lot differently if I wore my hair in its fully natural state versus how I'm treated when I wear my hair like this. I get a lot of compliments like this. I get a lot of questions about how I take care of my hair like this, but I think people would consider it to be unkept if I just wore it in its really naturally curly, shrunken state. There's a difference.
That's
and I think
crazy.
we are all aware, like acutely aware of that difference. And because we are aware of that difference, we act accordingly, and we decide to wear our hair in states that make us feel more comfortable, and we like to wear our hair in states that make us feel beautiful, which I feel like all black girls and black women deserve to feel beautiful because we have such a history of people telling us that we are not. And I think whenever it comes to the natural hair community, it was this movement that was created and that was started in order for us to find a way to embrace our beautiful curls and find a way to embrace this beauty that we were finding through our natural textures and curl patterns. But I think it eventually turned into somewhat of a monster that consumed anyone and everyone that wasn't willing to follow the status quo whenever it came to their natural hair. And I honestly think that is what caused the fall of the natural hair community. A lot more people, especially that I've noticed recently, are starting to explore the world of locks, which I think is so cool and so interesting, especially considering that locking your hair is a whole entire journey on its own. I know a lot of people lock their hair, they start off with twists, or they'll go ahead and get it instantly locked. Some people will add extensions so they don't have to go through the baby lock phase. People are doing all types of things, but I think it's the same thing or similar thing to what we were doing when the natural hair movement first started and when we first started to build a community of people with natural hair. And I think the rise in black people, black girls, black women starting to get locks and exploring the world of having locks is something that not only of course makes you still a part of the community, but it's just something that's also different that we need. It's that diversity that we need. It is forcing us to learn how to be more inclusive to people who don't necessarily want to wear their hair like we wear ours. And I think that is honestly one of the best parts about being someone that has curly hair and about being someone that has the option to do so many different things to my hair, no matter what the style is, just simply based off of how versatile it truly is. That is the beauty of natural hair. And it sucks to see that the community had a rise. Like, I would want to live in that rise forever, because at the time it just felt like this community of people where we all had the same goal and the same mission: to love our hair, to learn how to take care of our hair, to embrace our hair, and to go on a journey with our hair. But whenever it came to the fall, I think that's when we all start to notice the flaws and all of the weak spots in the community that we had built. And so I think that is what caused the rise and fall of the natural hair community. Alright guys, so that is it for this.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. But you know, this was a really good video about this topic. Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that she said. It's really unfortunate that, you know, the natural hair community, it started out so good and so strong, and then of course, you know, it just you know, everything that has, you know, everything that experiences a rise at some point has to decline. Hopefully the natural hair community can, you know, come back stronger at some point, because I do think it was really beneficial for a lot of people. But as Cameron Elise said, you know, a lot of women nowadays are just like, look, I'm gonna just do what I want to do and not worry about what other people have to say, whether it's going back to relaxers, whether it's straightening their hair, whether it's, you know, constantly getting braids and wigs and stuff like that. Now, again, people have different reasons for doing different things. For me, for instance, like I wear my hair in a lot of protective styles and wigs and stuff like that, but I also wear my hair out in its natural state from time to time. And so, but I do that in hopes that it's actually helping my hair. I don't do it to hide it. I actually do like my hair, even though it is a much more coarser hair type. I actually do like the way my natural hair looks, and I do enjoy wearing it out. I'm not gonna lie, I get lazy. I be tired, y'all. I be tired. And so sometimes I don't feel like sitting here spending like 30-40 minutes doing my hair. Sometimes I want to just throw on a wig and keep it moving, you know. And so yeah, I think at the end of the day, like, people should just do what makes them happy. But yeah, if you're someone out there that, you know, you feel like you've been kind of bullied out of the natural hair community, you know, definitely I definitely wouldn't let that be the reason why you stop wearing your natural hair. At the end of the day, again, you got to do what's best for you. And yeah, you should briefly talked about Can2. Listen, if Can2 still works for your hair, you know, go ahead. I know it wasn't really working for me at a certain point. I think Can2 is good, again, for people with looser textures or women that are starting to transition. That's when I use Can2 a lot. I use Can2 when I was transitioning to natural hair, but then once I was fully natural, it wasn't working anymore. And so, but yeah, all in all, just do what's best for your hair. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about this topic. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We're on the road to 700 subscribers, which I'm really excited about. And so yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.